What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to the 817 podcast, where we talk about the lovely city of Fort Worth, Texas. We get into politics, business, culture, news. If it impacts you as a Fort Worthian, we discuss it. We give you one big story, 3 short stories, wins, losses, and actions for the week. My name is EJ Carrion. I'm with my co-host, Ann Zeta, our producer, Wesley Kirk, and we have Tevita, Uhatafe, labor activist, and Sabrina Ball, a community organizer who does amazing work with No Kings, an array of other things that are happening in Fort Worth. Sabrina, welcome to the show. Tevita, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so we always start with, what is your Fort Worth story? I know you live in Euless. I know you live in Fort Worth. But tell us, what's your Fort Worth story?
The first time I was ever on stage at like a political event was like the first time Bernie Sanders came here in, like, was it 2019?
Wow.
I think, right? And
wow,
I just happened to be part of the group that they allowed in the back, stand behind him. And when it was being live streamed, people were watching it from work, and they were like, "It looks like you're like doing security work for Bernie." Because I'm standing behind Bernie,
and with those pythons, it could work.
But it's crazy because it went from that, and then I saw Bernie again, where I was holding up a mic for him. It became a viral meme, right, in like 2023, and then I'm speaking at the Fight the Oligarchy with Bernie, so he needs to keep coming back out here so we can keep getting
making
people.
You famous.
Right.
Yeah.
It's doing that.
Yeah.
But it's also getting people who are like-minded to get up and get out, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of work to do here in Texas. So
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a small town in North Texas, near Lake Texoma.
Which one?
Whitesboro.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's one little stoplight town.
I'm from Burk Burnett, Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
One little stoplight town, and I needed to get out of that little town because I didn't fit there. And I made it all the way to the University of North Texas, where I met my husband, my best friend, and he loves his mama, and his mama lived in Fort Worth. And he said, let's move there just for a little bit. And we never left. Mm-hmm. We owned a little restaurant here in Fort Worth that sits on the footprint of Bowie House. Mm-hmm. And that was my intro into Fort Worth. It was a place where the elites went to eat chicken fried steak.
Yeah.
And we shut that down.
Yeah. Well, I love to know what's also both of y'all's like intro to activism. Okay, like, yes, you lived here, but when did you start all the things you do now, which y'all can also introduce yourselves in a sense of what you do actually do today.
So my name is Tevita Uhatafe, pronouns he, him, we, and us. I'm the president of the Tarrant County Central Labor Council. And before that, I was a rank and file unionist. I got hired onto a major airline that's here based in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They had a huge hiring boom because there was a big merger. And I just happened to get hired on at the in the airport operations, working below wing, where there are a lot of Tongans who work there because we reside mostly in the Euless, Hearst, Bedford area, the HEB area, because of the proximity to the airport. We all work there because of the flight benefits to be able to get back home to the islands, right? So you'll see a lot of Pacific Islanders work at the airlines for that reason. So I'm going into the workforce, and there's a lot of people who are like the first generation, those who immigrated to the States in the 70s and 80s and the 90s. And although they speak English and they're able to communicate, many of them didn't really comprehend the contract and what they were reading and what those things really were for them, their work lives. And so I started translating it, translating the contract, things that people wanted to know. Not the whole damn thing, but just the things that people asked, right? And things I thought was important for them to know. And that was something that I wanted just to help that generation with, right? Just to make sure that they knew that they can get way more than they were told, or you don't have to depend on somebody to tell you, right, whether it's good enough for you, because they don't know you like I know you. Mm-hmm. We grew up in the same, I grew up under the same household and stuff, and we're all trying to figure it out here in America, right? So translating it, and then my union found out, and then they started getting me involved, and it got me to the Labor Council, where I became a delegate for our local Eventually, I became a part of the executive board, and it was all of this is while I'm still clocking in.
Yeah.
Like today, still clocking in and working. So a lot of my activism is geared towards shop floor because I'm on the shop floor, but my activism has taken me to like something you will never see another Tongan doing this kind of work, where they're going across the country visiting different strikes, when people are announcing that they're organizing unions, right?
That's what I love about when I'm following on Instagram, like, you go to the fight. I'm like, you getting on a plane to go help out at a strike in Philadelphia. Like, I was like, man, this guy's like committed. He goes chase down the fight. Yeah. And I think that's so inspirational, by the way, like that you go seek to help, even if it's not in our backyard.
Yeah, it's one of the ways of trying to get people activated in this area is showing them going to somebody's place of employment and coming back and saying, I saw sanitation workers in Philadelphia withholding their labor because they wanted to make money to be able to afford to live in their city. Like, you can do that too. We can help organize that for you, but you got to drive it. You are the workers. It affects you. We will support you. And that's what it's kind of like my life in the last 6 years has been hearing a fight, flying out to it because I work in the airline industry. I have those benefits, and then come back and tell that story to people and have them activate and be like, you know what, damn it, we want to do something like that too, right? Because we're doing the same work. But we're not getting compensated, and people are so afraid to organize themselves here because of the right to work, the anti-worker laws that have been here and have been institutionalized, not only in the state, but like the whole region, the South, right? Yeah. And it's like going to these strikes and these organizing efforts and then coming back and telling like auto workers, because we have auto workers who are organized here. But I went last year to Tennessee to go watch the first foreign auto plant organize a union here in the States ever, like in the South. It's never happened before. And there's a reason, because we have so many laws that are geared towards squashing union efforts, right? Unionization efforts. It's because, and that's why they get all these tax incentives when they come out here. Foreign automakers, anybody who makes money, they come out to the South because they exploit us because we can't organize like we could in the North, right? Yeah. It's not as easy. And it's crazy.
Yeah, people have to see it. So for you to go and see it and bring those stories back then helps people see what the possibilities are. Right.
And it's crazy because it doesn't just stay within the confines of the work area, because, social media, thanks to social media, my work has been like amplified by mainstream media, usually things that are not really like put out there, not the glamorous stories, right? Like you'll see stories about strikes with like last 10 years, you'll see them, but they were not really broadcasted until you started seeing that more and then more and then more happening. And now people are forced to see it. So you have to broadcast it, right? Because you can't hide it anymore.
It's the news.
It's the news. And people are, and here's the thing, people pay attention to the stock market. And when they start seeing dips and things like that, they start asking what's going on. And when soon as you hear it's a labor issue, they're thinking strikes already, and everybody's eyes are on like, how long is this gonna last? Yeah. Right? Because the economic impact, it could change the region, it can change, like it could force governments to intervene. Right? That's the power of people. They just don't know that yet, and that's what we're trying to bring here to this area.
Well, Sabrina, I know that's a lot of what your passion is as well. You're a different kind of powerhouse than Tevita. Tell me how you got into it and the organizing efforts you have.
Yeah, so coming from a working class family in that small town, when I was dropped in Fort Worth, I was dropped into affluent Fort Worth, and I thought, wow, is this like what how it's everybody like? Lives here? Is this what it's like? But my husband and I are public school kids, and when I went to look at public schools, I didn't see people that look like me at the best public schools, like Tanglewood, Lily B, Ridgely Hills, North Highmount, all of those. None of those kids look like my kids. So we started looking outside, and we wound up at a Spanish immersion program at Burton Hill Elementary. And you get wrapped into, well, this was a PTO, but PTA basically. And I don't know if you know, but like the affluent elementary schools raise a lot of money. And I got stuck in that fundraising machine. And I was also serving all of the kids in that school. And the school at Burton Hill is for the base. So it is a really good mix of economics and diversity. That's different than Tanglewood and Lily B. And so you were looking at like, wow, this is real Fort Worth. I have poor people with affluent people, with brown kids and Asian kids and black kids. And when I left, and I was staring down the barrel of looking at middle school and doing it all over again, I said, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because the state is not funding us. We were having to raise so much money to have the same education that I had and my husband had. And this seemed completely unfair to me. I found Leadership ISD. You've had Twyla Masterson on. And that taught me a lot about equity in public schools and the fight ahead. And I just dove straight in. So it took me a long time to find Indivisible. There are a lot of different organizations that don't quite have the infrastructure to meet this moment. Thankfully, Indivisible exists. And I got to Indivisible by working last year for the election with the Tarrant County Democratic Party and seeing the constraints on them. They get a lot of flack, but a lot of that comes down from national and from state. They are just a small but mighty group working with what they have. And I saw that the money doesn't flow to precinct chairs that need to get the word out about elections. Wes is one of my precinct chairs. I wear two hats. I'm with Indivisible and with the Tarrant County Democratic Party. I help in House District 99.
Yep.
And that person, the precinct chair in the neighborhood, that's the person in the neighborhood that's supposed to tell you about the election, and they don't get any money. None of it makes it to them. So when you're just working with national, it really hurts the party. But I found good messaging and an infrastructure to get money to the people that need it through Indivisible.
Yeah.
It's a good mix.
Yeah.
It's like printing flyers, stapling flyers.
Yes,
I got
and did a lot of
calluses from stapling flyers at Sabrina's house.
Yeah. I mean, we just don't have a lot of support on the county level for messaging. I was asked to go into very poor neighborhoods with the same messaging as I would in affluent neighborhoods, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I like the Indivisible. I found them through Working Families Party, which is much more about class warfare, and that's the messaging that we really need.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to people more than what the Democratic Party is giving us now, unfortunately.
Yeah. But you also you do a lot of bridges. I love you do that, and then you did the what is it, the handsmaid tale kind of setup. So you also you're a movement person. How did you get to this point in that space? I guess that you do a lot of important work.
Well, I figured out that nobody under my age is watching the news, right? You dived headfirst into social media too. I mean, that's all. They're just looking at their phones, and then how do we break through? We papered the county in 2024, and maybe that stuff just went in the trash. So how do we break through? Handmade was something somebody asked me, let's do this.
Can you give context for people who don't know what I'm talking about?
I organized the Handmaids March in downtown for the first Snow Kings. All of us in Indivisible were thrown into this protest space. We are mainly organizers. There's a difference between organizers and activists. Yep. I did not know that when I first started, and I'm trying to marry the two. But people wanted to protest. Protesting takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of organization. It takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of volunteers. And we weren't ready for a big protest like we did in April. That one was 2,500 people.
Yeah.
I didn't have the staff. I organized the one in April, Fort Worth Fights Back, with 5051 DFW.
Yeah.
They brought their magical team over to Fort Worth and manned that protest. We did not have the staff for No Kings 1. To do that, I thought, okay, my friend asked me to do handmaids. I could limit it to just a small group, and then I can build that protest team, the safety team around. Just a small group of handmaids.
Yeah.
And have something very visually impactful. Every time I see something on social media with a handmaid, it's viral.
Grabs your attention.
I mean, the impressions on that moment has around the world, you know.
Well, I was hoping my stuff would go viral, but everything, I mean, people sent things out from there that went. I mean, Rachel Maddow called us out.
Yeah.
And that I still see images of that,
same.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we realized this paper isn't working. Mm-hmm. So it's all visual strategies, which is the bridge protest.
Yeah.
I mean, we can reach, the Hewlin Bridge reaches 6,000 people in the morning. And once we move to afternoons, it'll reach even more because more people are going home at the same time in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And we're about to launch our new bridge. So we'll have 3 bridges.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one's great. That one really gets that one you get out of our bubble.
No, I just have seen some incredible visuals from those bridge protests because there's a couple volunteers that are photographers that have taken some amazing photographs and shared those. And so to the point of plugging in where you have expertise, but having the structure and the organization that you talked about is important because a lot of people don't have the bandwidth to do that, but they have the bandwidth to show up to support in other ways. Yeah. So like a photographer shows up and then elevates what you're doing. And
the bridge is really just like 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes, an hour in the morning. So it's helpful. Like we have a lot of retirees out on the bridge that can man the bridges in the morning.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have small things like that where people can plug in.
Yeah. What's y'all's goals, I guess? Like, what's waking you up to be so selfless in a lot of ways for these movements? It takes resources, it takes time away with family. I guess what is driving y'all?
It definitely ain't the resources because I ain't seeing it.
You're not getting paid?
I'm not getting paid. I'm making ends meet just like everyone else and finding a way to be plugged in with workers.
Yeah.
No matter what they do for a living, staying plugged in and trying to amplify their fights is the objective, right? And it's something that has come natural to me because of my involvement in the labor movement. But to bring it here to Fort Worth and show, like when strikes do happen, because they actually do happen here in Texas. Mm-hmm. You know, the latest we had last year locally was the Miller Brewery, where the Teamsters were on strike, right? And then the year before in 2023, the auto workers with General Motors, they went on a Big 3 strike, which was actually nationwide, which really, you couldn't miss that, right? Mm-hmm. Joe Biden showed up to the picket line. So, like, it's that and just trying to bring that out here and show people that it is so local. Like our fights can be so local, even though you see it on TV, it may seem far and that you can't be a part of it. But if you clock in for a living and you're getting taken advantage of, whether it's a local management or the organization or the employer you work for, like those are things that we can correct if we stand together, right? If me working in aircraft maintenance says, hey, grocery worker, you deserve to be in the union too because you deserve to live with us in the community. You help us. You are contributing by working at the grocery store so I can go and buy. And it's like the ecosystem of workers is much more than just silos like organizations, right? Like I can go into any union hall here in North Texas and feel comfortable knowing that these people are fighting for somebody's working rights. And I can go and hear what that fight is and then go to another union hall, to another space where it might not be union members and say, y'all don't want this too? right? You deserve this too, especially even living out here in Texas, where, like, I'm proud to say I'm a union member and I make good money. My wife is also a unionist. She makes good money. We're impacted by the economy right now, but not as much so as people who are non-unions, right? Where a lot of them are going to be dealing with furloughs as long as, like, the government shutdown, for example. The longer that goes, the more likely people are going to be losing their jobs, both government and contract, because this government contracts a lot of work too that probably should be unionized, I think, because that way it would have more protections than to just get the white slip and say, hey, you're done. We don't have any funding. And that's like happening right now. Texas is one of the largest states with the most federal workers. So right now there's a lot of federal workers, whether it's the airport workers or the workers at the EPA in Houston or in Dallas. They're all just sitting doing, like, some of them are still having to show up to work, like TSA, because they have to, but they're not getting paid. And then the ones that are non-essential, like the office workers, they're just not going to work, period, and not getting paid too. It's like, why y'all want to shut this stuff down and get people like even more further behind than we already are?
Yeah, because a lot of people, I don't remember the percentage, but the number of people who don't have $1,000 in a savings account to take care of something like that coming up, getting laid off or getting furloughed or having a shutdown to the government. But beyond that, just in all areas of employment. So I think that the structure and the education that you're providing allows people to learn about having structure that supports employment instead of just paycheck to paycheck to paycheck and struggling constantly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where, like, social media activism comes in, right? Because it's crazy, but in my social media, like, if I'm looking at like all the algorithm, like all the like charts and stuff of my individual, the majority of my viewers are aged 35 and under. Like, and then flip that, 90% of workers under the age of 30, this was a recent poll, have favorable views on unions. So it's kind of like I'm getting this whole new audience of people who want to learn,
right?
Who like, the Starbucks workers, for example. That's a lot of where I'm getting a lot of traction, right? Because they're organizing all over the place. They damn near got 600 stores organized to unions, and they only been starting for 3-4 years. Like, see, that's people figuring out that their working conditions with their coworkers is not working for them. Right? And we can't depend on politicians to bail us out. Like, we as workers have power, but y'all just need to get organized. We can help and we can support, because all of this stuff should be driven by the people who are affected the most, the people on the shop floor.
Sabrina, what does it look like for when you kind of said economics and labor seems like the overall under thing that the majority people agreed to. So when you kind of hear what Tevita's saying, how does it align?
I think
with
about
the
my
stuff you do?
parents that they factory work, grocery stores. I don't believe they were in unions, but they were able to work in those jobs for years and have health insurance, and things like that are kind of going away right now. We're getting attacked on all sides, especially with the Medicaid cuts and why we're shut down right now. So workers are always at my heart, but for me it was my kids and public school, especially in Texas. I don't see them, if they want to start a family here, A, it's dangerous to start a family here, and B, public school, they're going to have to afford private school if they want a good experience or not be indoctrinated with Christian nationalist theology. So for me, it's kids. I don't know where Texas is going or the South is going if at this rate, if it's Trumpism, MAGA, that this whole idea that everything is not even Christianity, it's their version of Christianity. That really is what drives me.
The thing I battle with, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, is like, I feel like I got radicalized or like fired up about this the last year, being inspired watching you guys move, but then also just seeing where the country is headed, and to me, it's like you've seen that map where it's like capitalism, Christianity, and racism, right? Kind of, and I'm seeing a lot of the activists show up for ICE, for Palestine. You could also do like women's rights and justice, like that's another one. So it's like there's also that layer of people who are like, holy smokes, this authoritarian kind of fascism is being amplified. So I'm interested to see, like, are you guys getting people who are broken down by the economic system showing up? Because what I feel like what I see shows up or listens to the pod or who follows the Instagram, it's a lot of the like younger kids who care about the social stuff that seems more ready to roll. But I just think about like, I think the saddest thing I feel is like, why aren't more people amplified, ready to go to the streets? How close do you guys think we're there to that like possible tipping point? Do you have the same discernments?
I do. I feel
there's hope.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of people, I would say under 30, have lived in this system and they don't know any different.
So sad.
They don't know what a social safety net is. They don't know that could be there.
Yeah.
So they don't even know what they're fighting for.
Yeah, we said if you're 18 years old, you were 8 when Donald Trump got elected for the first time.
Yeah.
And so like, you don't know what it sounds like to have a Barack Obama hope speech. And like, that's why I'm so fired up. It's like, I think by the time we get to 2028, like, I'm not sure if feeling hope from your country is possible if we don't get 2028 right.
Right.
That's the level I'm playing at of like, I would like the future generation to feel hope from their country again.
Well, I think a lot of them aren't watching the news, not even local news. I think back to that date in 2016, my 8-year-old was very upset that morning because my kids watched the news, the local news every morning. So they actually saw all those debates.
Yeah.
And my daughter said about Trump, he doesn't think before he speaks. But I think a lot of families, a lot of people under the age of 35 aren't watching local news, so they don't even know the fights we are having at city council. They don't know the fights that are happening at school board.
Or county commissioner's court.
Right.
Yes.
Or what commissioner's court is.
Yeah.
Yes.
But a lot of them don't realize the system isn't working for them until they try to go get into it, until they're looking for a public school. They show up at the school down the street and they realize, oh, falling down. Oh, there's a Christian curriculum now. I didn't know that, or they're trying to be in the workforce and they don't have insurance or they don't get paid enough.
It costs a whole lot of money.
Right.
A pension.
Right.
Yeah.
What is a pension?
They don't even know what a pension is.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it don't exist in the workplace anymore.
Yeah. When you said that 90% of under 30s were pro-union, I thought you were about to say 90% of under 30s are not in a union, which is, so they don't even know what a union is.
Well, overall, there's only 10% of the workforce nationally is in a union. And that's the crazy thing. So the correlation is so crazy, right?
What was the peak number of unionized
It
workers?
was, so in the 1950s, 1 in 3 households, or 30% of households were unionized, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just after decades of deregulation and basically the conservative movement coming in and chipping away and giving companies, making them more brave to take away when they're negotiating too, right? Because it's funny, because I work in a workplace where we have people who've been there for 40 years, right? They don't want to leave. They got a good job, good union contract, and they tell me about when they first started working. Oh yeah, CEO used to come down to the ramp area and he would shake our hand and we'd be working, getting these planes in and out. And now we don't even know the guy's name anymore. The CEO, like it has gotten from these companies investing in the operation, in the people, and knowing that the people are the ones that are going to make your organization grow, your work, employer, whatever. It has flipped, and they have taken all those resources away. And this can be said about like the community too, where they take all these resources out and they put it in something crazy, right? Something like stock buybacks and things of that sort that don't help us. It helps the people who are in the stocks and buying stocks for the airline, but They are not coming and pushing planes and loading bags and turning wrenches and pulling tickets and being on the planes and flying the planes. They're not doing that work. It's us. And that investment is just from industry to industry. You can see it where people can say the same thing. They've been working forever, and then I come in with my work, my first year, and like, dang, y'all had this, and this, and now I'm over here fighting for 401k, and look at all these premiums going up on my insurance. Like, y'all didn't have that struggle, and now I'm trying to raise kids here in Texas, in a dangerous state like Texas, where I gotta depend on the teachers and the staff to keep my children safe where I go work, so I can contribute to this system, because we're all in the system, right? And it's like looking international, looking outside of the country, and seeing all of these actions happen, like even like within the last 2 weeks in Italy, where workers of all sectors, teachers, transport workers, nurses, firefighters, they just said, you know what, we're going to go on strike, a general strike, and they called it. They organized themselves. They had help from organized labor, right? But it also emboldened those, like watching the dock workers, like over the last 2 years, I'll use Palestine as an example, start to stop shipments of weapons to Israel, especially in Europe. That only emboldened other workers to be like, you know what, man, we can stop this too and make it more havoc, right? And that's where, like, I'm hoping that kind of resonates and people figure it out, that you have way more power than you know. Like, just even wearing a shirt, like everybody wearing a red shirt for a day, like all your co-workers organized at wherever you're at. You wear that and everybody shows up, there's 30 people, management is going to be looking around like, they're not even going to know what's going on. But you have organized yourselves to wear red, all that, everybody wear red. What can you do next? Right? And that's where I'm hoping that, like, with all the dread that we're dealing with locally, we're used to it here in the South, where it's always bad news, and now the country's catching up, because now they have to deal with all the bad news too. We've been living through this kind of oppression, especially if you live here in Texas, in the South, where you're gonna be profiled by the police. If you are in large numbers, it damn better have a permit, or y'all all getting arrested. Like, things, ticky-tacky things where they can come and actually do stuff in the work, build bridges in the community. But we over here dealing with trying to squash dissent or people's voices. It's so easy to do that here in Texas. But if we keep showing, like, what's going on internationally, and get people who are like the retirees, like you said, dude, they are getting plugged in on things that are going on during the day while we're at work. They are toeing the line. That's why I'm like, workers are all retired. The retirees were workers once too. Like, we can all plug in and we all work for a living. That's our way in. Like, hey, we all let's collaborate here.
Our senior citizen activists are the most fierce.
Right.
They're like, do I have to be here again?
Yes, but they have
went through this, but we're back.
They have their calendars and they show up.
Yeah, and they're the first ones that show up.
Yeah.
Like, I can say that for you. You can definitely speak for it, but I can speak for it from a labor movement standpoint. We have something called the Alliance for Retired Americans. It's an organization within the labor movement that activates retired unionists. And they just get plugged into whatever's going on. They're showing up to the picket lines. They're showing up, and they're the ones that usually can show up when everybody else is at work. Like, if it's during the day when you're trying to catch traffic with them signs, right? They're the ones doing that. And it's like, if these folks who put in all the work all these years, turning wrenches or doing what they did for a living, can find time when they're supposed to be resting, what is your excuse? Like, if you feel like something's going on in this world that you can change locally, and you got these old folks doing this work, what is your excuse?
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing that you just said that I think it's good to kind of get to, like, actions that people can do is, you said we organize, if you can organize red shirts, that shows them what can you organize next. And it feels like, and that's it feels like a game of levels, right? Like you're playing a video game and you're like, okay, we beat this level where we all did this together. Can we do this now? And it seems like what we have coming is October 18th, No Kings, coming back to Fort Worth. What kind of actions and what kind of organizing do you want to kind of share and talk about that we can start doing to showcase what our next move is?
Hey, so I was fortunate to speak at the No Kings here in Fort Worth. And I'll tell you what, I ain't never seen that many people in Fort Worth for a issue like this that brought so many people together, right? We saw people on horseback, right? You know, with
we would like you to come back, by the way.
It is
the
Fort
people
Worth.
on horses, we would like you to come back. We can't find you.
Yeah,
so.
come back, come back. But it's like trying to, like I made a speech and I was talking about general strikes. Every time I've had an opportunity to speak, especially in Fort Worth, I'm trying to educate people on what people did in history, right, before. And at that No Kings, I was asking people how many people were a part of unions, right? And that was maybe 1 in 25. But then when I started asking those 1 in 25 that raised their hands, said they're in a union, I told them that they were responsible for telling everybody around them what a strike is and what their workplace is and who they can plug into, like union wise, where they can maybe organize or talk to somebody, right? And that's how I was like, you know what? When it comes to the No Kings, like the activism, you have to get people to buy in that they can actually make a difference. Mm-hmm. So when talking about strikes and then talking about like all the things that have happened since that first No Kings, and now we're organizing another No Kings, it's like, okay, we've talked about general strikes. We've seen all the damage that's happened since June. Are y'all ready to learn on how to prepare yourselves to make an economic impact? Because that means that you're going to have to start saving money yourself. Because if you're talking about people going out of work in mass droves, like you're not going to be making money that day. You're not. Your employer's not going to pay you to be out of work, right? So getting people educated on that, like getting them educated on the organizations that maybe can help them if they decide to do this kind of action, you know, like it's crazy. So I see it in Italy happening where all these general strikes are happening. And then people are asking me from all across the country, because I'm plugged in with all these workers. They're like, what can we do? I'm like, what you mean what we can do? Watch what they're doing in Italy. Let's organize these workers and tell them, let's go out in mass, because that's the only thing. And I'm glad you brought up the workers' working family party, because I'm like, it's a class thing now. This, like, I get the left and right thing, but being a unionist, a representative, I have to represent people on the right that don't vote in my own interest, and I have to give them everything I got because I'm thinking about their kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're thinking about their kids, even if they ain't thinking about me as a person. Forget about my family. But that's what, like, having people show empathy. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm hoping that's what worker actions and activating people to educate themselves on their rights, as like worker rights when it comes to being surveilled by ICE. You know, that's a big thing, and people need to be educated on that, right? Like, I want people to be prepared to educate so they can be a part of the action.
Yeah.
When it happens, because these people are not listening.
Yeah.
Like, they see us on the streets, but they ain't listening. And I'm like, hey, if you want to go that route, I know what can stop people or make the bosses look.
Yeah, well, that's Sabrina, I'm going to kind of, because I know you're kind of organizing No Kings, is we had a new person I met who spoke at Commissioner's Court when Judge Tim O'Hare eliminated the teams for Precinct 1 and Precinct 2. Just because
let their staff go.
Yeah, let their staff go.
One person.
One person spoke, and then afterwards, like, got lunch with them, and it was like, so why did we do that? Like, what was the point? And I think a lot of people feel like these organized moves, it's like they don't see the point. So I guess, like, as you tell people what No Kings is, it's like, what's the move? Because I feel you on this, like, when is the move where it's like organized, but truly we're creating uncomfort? Like discomfort. Discomfort. Like what is our, what is our time when we're, not using the bus, or what's that? We're walking into restaurants that we're not supposed to be in. We are going to have to start getting to that level of organizing.
Well, we're getting closer with city council saying less public comment.
Oh.
Yes. that was a big one.
And Commissioner's Court did the same thing. Mm-hmm. Because our senior citizen activists were showing up 3 times a month, harassing Tim O'Hare.
Yeah.
We
holding him to account.
Yeah. Holding him accountable.
Right. It's I think it starts with little actions. Small, little actions, letter writing, do small gatherings in your home. That's what we do with, we have a program called 1 Million Rising where we talk about non-cooperation. An example of non-cooperation was when we went to city council and fought for DEI. Mm-hmm. That was non-cooperation. We were trying to force them to keep it.
Yeah.
Not just acquiesce to
authoritarians. And that is hosting small events in your home with your friends and teaching them about non-cooperation.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sabrina, Tevita, for coming onto the pod. No Kings is on the 18th.
Yes.
Starting at
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
We march at high noon.
So this one will have a march. That's fun.
This one will have a march.
Yes.
We have volunteers. We could probably use a few more.
Few more volunteers.
Yes.
So if you want to be a volunteer, what else can we help with?
If you're worried about safety, because I know I've gotten a few messages concerned about safety. My handmaids are concerned about safety. They will be marching again. I actually met with downtown PD, the day after the Charlie Kirk shooting. Mm-hmm. And we are all very concerned. We are all very aware of counter-protesters. We are aware of agitators, and there's eyes up above as well. We're all working together. We've got a lot of folks out there working to keep everyone safe.
You're going to have people there that are going to know what they're doing.
Yeah. So
just, it should be an event where you need to bring your kids out.
Yeah.
They need to be exposed to this.
Advocating
and show them that this is something that is American, very much American.
Yeah.
And they are trying to stop this kind of assembly of people.
Yeah.
So showing your children, showing up with them, which what I would like to see, right, is the community show up, because we are all affected by this whole authoritarianism is going on. And if the No Kings space could be the place where we can bring all kinds of people who all feel that we can make change, let's make it safe, and because the way I look at it, like when I'm labor union organizing, you can't just demand people to just do it this way. You got to show them, give them examples, and give them power. Children need to be exposed to the whole American experience is all I'm saying. It can't be my own, only my kids.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I look back at the way I was raised. I was raised by Quakers who went to protests, silent protests, peaceful protests. That's the way I was raised. And that's the way I raised my kids too. So I think that it's really important that we share that. I went to the Pride event that happened in Keller South Lake this past weekend, and it was definitely a family-friendly event, and there were families there, children there, and I think that's something that we need to normalize in this day of things that are really horrific being normalized.
And peaceful, nonviolent protest is proven to stop authoritarian breakthroughs.
Yeah. And isn't there this like percentage they say we need to crack?
3.5.
Tell me about what this.
I think for No Kings we got to like
across the country.
Right.
Yeah.
So he referenced Italy. They shut the country down.
Yeah.
And I know you may not be seeing it on the news.
Yeah, it's wild that we're not.
Right. My feed shows me.
Your algorithm.
My algorithm shows me that. That's what we need. We need cameras in downtown Fort Worth showing our streets full.
Yeah.
So I need you to come.
Yep. So you heard that. We were at 2.5%.
Yeah.
You can be that 3.5% change. So thank you guys for igniting all of us. Really, it's been great to just watch. We've been doing the podcasts, and you guys got us from the studio to the streets. Yeah. So thank you guys for all you do for Fort Worth.
One more thing.
Yes.
So look for Indivisible. You can go to indivisible.org to find your local chapter. I'm over Congressional District 12. We have Fort Worth area Indivisible, and there's an Indivisible 24, which is over Congressional District 24. For No Kings, if you need an event, go to nokings.org. That is where you just plug in your city, and it shows you the closest one. But we need Fort Worth, for sure. This is the seat of Christian nationalism in Texas and in the South. So to have a big showing here in Fort Worth would be a big deal.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.